Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Crick Friends. So before we begin, आज पाकिस्तान भी जीता है, so that's also like something we look forward to. और साथ ही साथ क्रिक फ्रेंड्स के 100 फॉलोअर्स भी पूरे हो गए हैं, so be on the lookout. हम किसी दिन केक काटते हुए आपको नजर आएंगे और हम वो वीडियो भी डालेंगे. But apart from that, today Pakistan chased down an enormous target on last day of the test match at Galle और उसके अलावा it was a historic run chase considering that in the past that hasn't been achieved. And hats off to Abdullah Shafique. I mean, 160 not out in such a tricky situation. That's not for everyone. With this test being concluded, there are like a lot of talking points, and I'm pretty sure you're waiting for us to give our opinions on them. So, सबसे पहले, I'll go to Zoha. Zoha, do you have words to describe Abdullah Shafique and what he has done today? I mean, that's the basic thing I want to start with. तो मुस्तफीज से भी इसी ऊपर बात करेंगे.
Honestly, the thing that stood out to me most about Abdullah Shafique was not, I mean, his batting today was excellent as well, but जो कल रात उन लोगों ने PCB के channel पे उसकी एक वीडियो निकाली थी ना, where he's like, I know I've done a lot, but it's not enough. And the belief that he knew that he has to play all day. Matlab, as a 22-year-old, imagine you're going to sleep and you've done so well the entire day, और आपको पता है कि tomorrow it has to be better, because fifth day is never like fourth inning, fifth day. It's a crazy situation to be in. And the fact that he slept with that mind frame, and he talked about it. वो video अगर आपने देखी है, he's so clear about his intent. He's saying that this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do, and there's no question about it. And I really loved it. I think that's one thing that stood out to me the most, because his batting, I think we've already discussed there, he's very technically sound, and he's very easy on the eyes when he's batting. He's never looking too uncomfortable. I think ये हमने जब ऑस्ट्रेलिया वाली सीरीज हुई थी तब भी सब लोगों ने बात कर ली थी, but this was something that stood out to me more this time around, because उसको पता था that this is his responsibility. And in the words of Shoaib Malik, he knew what's the goal and he's gonna finish it. The job was to finish it, and he did it.
Well, आपने शोएब मलिक का ये infamous quote यहाँ पे mention किया. अब बोला था बात है कि after that very quote, पेशावर ज़ल्मी का ऐसा collapse हुआ कि वो बेचारे हार गए. But Mustafeez Ahmed, would you like to add on to what Zoha said?
Yeah, I think she put it down perfectly, but just the maturity of a 22-year-old to take everything on his shoulders, like easily. अगर पाकिस्तान खुदा ना खास्ता जो भी है ये गेम हार जाता, तो absolutely no one would have blamed Abdullah Shafique, right? Because he's already done his job, right? So knowing कि you don't have that complete pressure to perform, in the sense that if things go wrong, no one would have the gun on your head or would put it on you. And still misal ke taur pe, you expect Babar to take that responsibility, or Rizwan to take that responsibility in difficult situations. You don't expect a 22-year-old player who's playing his 7th test match to take that enormous of a responsibility, and yet he took it upon himself कि भाई मैंने खाली कल का पूरा दिन नहीं खेलना, आज भी. It's not on Rizwan, it's not on Nawaz, it's entirely on me to finish the game off, and I will. That's my goal. मेरा goal 100 नहीं है, मेरा goal 150 नहीं है. मेरा goal है to get that 344, and that's what I'm going there for. Seriously impressed by his technique, seriously impressed by his mindset. Again, too early in his career to say, लेकिन we are seeing all the right things that you can possibly see in a cricketer his age.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I can also continue with this praise. I mean, आज तो जितना भी उसके बारे में बोलने का मैं, he's racking up all the records. I mean, I was watching कि वो six innings में कितना, 6 matches के बाद कितना ज़्यादा runs होते हैं. He has surpassed the great Javed Miandad as well. So look out, Babar. There's another person out there who can do the job. Well, honestly, अगर आज का मैच देखें ना, तो there were moments जहाँ पर आपको लगेगा कि Sri Lanka would outfox Pakistan. I've actually said outfox because I'm quite pissed at Dick Wella, and I wanted your honest take at the situation as well. I mean, that was quite shallow. You're not supposed to do that. That goes against the spirit. He was literally waiting when Imam lift his foot and then he dislodged the bail. And I was watching it live. The umpire took 5 minutes to actually give the decision because he was quite unsure what to say. I mean, you would say it's in the rules and all, but where's the spirit of cricket? Mankit ke saath bhi yahi issue hai. So Imam out, in my opinion, was quite, below the belt. Mustafeez की शक्ल से ऐसा लग रहा है उसने इलायची खा ली बिरयानी के अंदर.
मेरे पास कुछ है कहने को, but finish your argument.
No, that's just my personal thought. And even the commentator, Russell Arnold, was taking the side of the Sri Lankans because obviously there is a sentiment. Not everyone is Amir Suhail, whereas the foreign commentator, I've forgotten his name. Was it Danny Morrison? Ackerman. He was furious. He was literally, Arnold was trying to praise him. And he was like, how can you defend that? That's pathetic. So, Mustafeez, I'm pretty sure you have something contrary to say about that.
I don't have anything contrary in that sense. Contrary नहीं है मेरे पास, but a few things that we do need to talk about इस case में, because this is a slightly deeper issue. मतलब थोड़ा लंबा बोलूँगा, please bear with that. The issue here is कि cricket में you open the rule book और आप कहीं पढ़ना चाहते हो ना कि when is a ball officially dead, you won't find a strict proper situation.
Let me tell you one more thing. I will come to if we go by the books, you know that if you pick up the ball as a batter and you give it to the keeper, that's also out as well. But do you see that happening? No.
Can I complete the thought? I agree with you. Yes, please. What I'm saying is कि okay, इस incident से, or like for example, unless something of the sort happens in, this was a big game, right? And listen, this can happen in a World Test Championship final as well. This can happen in a World Cup final as well. So I feel like there needs to be a revisiting officially about, just कि ball dead कब होती है, और एक proper strict guideline, yes, proper strict specifications होनी चाहिए to be clear about the fact कि भाई ball dead कब है, because मैंने ये मेंशन किया था पहले भी, इन द लैंकाशायर वर्सेस लैंकाशायर का जो ब्लास्ट फाइनल हुआ था उसमें भी लैंकाशायर स्टिल थिंक दे हैड लॉस्ट द गेम. दे थॉट कि उसके बाद उन्होंने दूसरा रन ले लिया था आफ्टर द बेल्स वर डिसलॉज्ड. हालांकि दे आर काइंड ऑफ राइट कि रन आउट नहीं हुआ था एंड दे डिड रन द सेकंड रन, बट नहीं पता किसी को बॉल डेड कब हुई है. तो आई फील लाइक अगेन कंसिडरिंग कि इमाम वाज टेकिंग हिज गार्ड, that was like something that you need to understand कि the ball is dead. डिक्वेला ने एक बार मेरे ख्याल से स्टंपिंग अटेम्प्ट, मतलब वो जो नॉर्मल मूवमेंट होती है वो कर भी ली थी. इट शुड बी डिक्लेयर्ड डेड एट दैट पॉइंट और एट सम पॉइंट. आई एग्री विद द पॉइंट ऑन डिक्वेला, बट देयर इज समथिंग दैट जिसमें मैं उसको थोड़ा सा बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट देने को तैयार हूँ. A keeper usually looks out for situations where the batsman might get unbalanced after a ball is played. ठीक है, और इस सिचुएशंस में स्टंपिंग हो चुकी हैं, और आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज एनीथिंग रॉन्ग विद दैट इफ अ कीपर इज लुकिंग आउट फॉर अ बैट्समैन बीइंग अनबैलेंस्ड, बिकॉज दैट्स इन द फ्लो ऑफ द शॉट. आई फील लाइक पर्सनली, अगेन whether he should be doing it or not is a different thing. I feel like he was under the mindset कि I am एक forward defensive shot थी जिसमें batsmen do get unbalanced. I feel like he was under the mindset कि the batsman might get unbalanced and I'm waiting for that moment where he loses his balance and I'll take the bails off. वो था, but I feel like obviously Imam guard ले रहा था. I don't think he knew that. Dikwela, he might know that, but I'm willing to give him that benefit of doubt. But I feel like कुछ strict rule बनाओ कि भाई ball dead कब हो रही है बस.
Okay, regarding your point, if Dikwela did not know कि he is taking his guard or unbalanced, जब umpires review हो रहा है and on the big screen you can see him, they could have shown the spirit of cricket and be like, okay, we're sorry, that's not out in our opinion. Okay, you can come back. That's how people are supposed to do. It's not something out of the box. But I think it's a very long debate if we continue with that. I mean, Zoha, looking at our faces.
Third umpire decision में भी उन्होंने shot बहुत briefly दिखाई थी. The entire focus was on the side camera. most
But still,
shot तो मेरे ख्याल से सिर्फ एक बार the entire focus was on the back camera.
if honestly Pakistan did that, Mohammad Rizwan did that, my stance would have been same that Rizwan तुमने सही नहीं किया. It's not as if Pakistan के खिलाफ हुआ है तो वो है, but let's move forward. Let's go beyond that. So I'll want Zoha to answer this because this is something that she would be very interested in. Everyone's saying कि Azhar का time खत्म हो रहा है and Pakistan should consider a new person for one down. And obviously all eyes are on Shaan Masood. So considering the fact that he has an average of 27 in tests, do you think he's ready to replace Azhar Ali, the great Azhar Ali, who has been like the backbone of Pakistan Test cricket for almost a decade?
Okay, so I'm personally a huge Azhar Ali fan, or I think Azhar Ali was the first cricketer that I used to follow in test other than Misbah Yunus, especially like after Misbah and Yunus. He was the only batsman in the entire squad I used to genuinely rely on iski batting, it's gonna get us through, and the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, he has been a very, even during Misbah and Yunus, I'd say he was a very, very prominent part of Pakistani batting lineup. Aisa nahi hai ki jab Misbah log khel rahe the then he wasn't playing, because I saw a lot of tweets. They were saying that, you know, uska career ka start to Misbah ne chupa liya tha because Misbah played well, and then after Misbah's retirement he played for a few years and then he stopped playing again. I don't agree with that. I think Azhar Ali deserves a lot of credit. He's gotten us through a very, very hard time in our testing careers, because you see, ye log bhul jate hain that Azhar Ali has made all of those runs in away conditions. So that also matters a lot, and he has like huge numbers backing him up. As far as Shaan Masood is concerned, I do feel like he's in great form as well. So I think whenever we're talking about if we should play X in terms of Y, I don't know why we immediately go कि उसका career खत्म हो जाता है. I don't think so. I think abhi agar Azhar Ali hasn't been performing the way he should be, sit him out a couple of matches, play Shaan Masood instead. I still think Azhar Ali should get to his 100 tests. No one, I think he's been playing for what, 20, 25 years, and he hasn't, like, I mean, I'm sure I was 15 years at least, and he hasn't gotten to 100 tests. So that also says a lot about how many tests Pakistan is playing. But uske alawa, I do think he should still get to 100 tests. Uska test career khatam nahi ho gaya. Let him, you know, sit out a few matches. Iske alawa, I don't think, like, I think Pakistanis generally make a lot of fuss about isko bitha diya to usko, matlab there's some politics going on. Aise nahi hota. Like if you see, England, वो लोग अपने बड़े players को भी बिठा देते हैं, and that's fine, and then they come back in the next, because that's how modern cricket is doing. You're playing so much cricket okay, you're bound to feel a burnout, you're bound to get exhausted, sit a few matches out. Same with Hassan Ali. मैं Hassan Ali का भी यही कहती थी, उसका खत्म नहीं हो गया career, just make him sit out a few matches, and that's what I'll say about Azhar Ali as well. And I think जो लड़ाई है जो हमारी top order की, वो I don't know why we're not realizing this is a good problem to have. I think for the first time in Pakistan history, we have too many Pakistani players that are very good opening or top order ke batsmen. That's a good problem to have. It's not a bad problem to have. So yeah, I think we're spoiled for choice, but usko manage करना है, उससे हमने डरना नहीं है.
That's an important point you raised. We're very quick to judge के बंदे का career खत्म हो गया या नहीं. I mean, even in the Australia series, Azhar did have a couple of good knocks. I mean, एक तो 80s में out हुआ था जिसमें Pat Cummins ने एक बहुत कमाल catch पकड़ा, and overall he was fine. Same with Fawad Alam. Before the Australian tour, I think we played against New Zealand, if I'm not too wrong. And in that series, he was actually quite good. I mean, he racked up centuries as well and like scored a lot. And honestly, तब यही होता था कि फवाद आएगा तो कुछ होगा, बाकियों से हमें कोई उम्मीद नहीं थी. And suddenly he had one bad series and everyone's like, kick him out of the team. He doesn't deserve it. Like Twitter is full of such comments. So हमें ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि हम इतनी जल्दी कर रहे हैं. अल्लाह ना करे अगर ये बाबर या शफीक के साथ इस तरह हो जाए, अब्दुल्ला शफीक के साथ, तो यही लोग जो उनको आज literally worship कर रहे हैं कि as the next big thing या future of Pakistan, they'll probably be the first to say kick them out of the team and not. So we need to have a bit of patience as well. So coming back to the point, Fawad Alam. In the next test, do you consider that he's going to be the one who's going to replace Agha Salman, or do you think Agha Salman अभी भी खेलेगा? आगा सलमान का प्रो ये है कि हमारे पास एक राइट हैंडेड ऑफ स्पिनर की ऑप्शन आ जाती है, विच इज क्वाइट इंपॉर्टेंट कंसीडरिंग के यासिर शाह और नवाज रिलेटिवली एक ही तरफ स्पिन करते हैं. लाइक लेग ब्रेक इज सपोज्ड टू गो वेयर लेफ्ट हैंडेड ऑफ स्पिन इज मेंट टू गो. सो कंसीडरिंग द वैरायटी, डू यू थिंक वी विल सी फवाद, एंड डू यू थिंक शाहीन वुड प्ले द नेक्स्ट मैच कंसीडरिंग उसकी MRI हुई थी रिसेंटली आफ्टर ही रिपोर्टेड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ pain, I think in his back. I'm not too sure कहाँ पर, लेकिन मुझे मेरे छोटे भाई ने बताया कि MRI हुई है.
Calf injury, I think.
Calf injury. So what do you think? Like whoever wants to speak first.
जहाँ तक मुझे शाहीन की, जोहा प्लीज करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, शाहीन की इंजरी की अपडेट है, आई थिंक MRI में देयर वाजंट एनीथिंग सीरियस इन दैट सेंस, एंड दे सेड जो PCB की स्टेटमेंट आई थी, इट वाज मोर लाइक because we did not absolutely require Shaheen's services उस situation में we were more going with spinners और pace option with Naseem थी, तो we obviously decided to rest him कि भाई injury serious ना हो जाए. But I do feel like considering that he might play the second test. फवाद की बात हो रही है, फवाद versus Agha Salman is a debate. You can have an argument for both. Fawad is a phenomenal player of spin, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, and we did see that lacking in this test match पहले innings में. Agha Salman की again ये, if you're giving someone a chance, you need to give them a slightly extended, 97 की average फवाद की against spin, तो a slightly extended run. I would prefer Fawad playing the next test, but if he does, what do we do with our other spin option? ये सवाल definitely raise होता है, and I'd like you people to answer it. But I don't mind Agha Salman getting another shot in the longer scheme of things. I feel I understand his selection again because of an extra spin option and someone who can bat. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Like in 60-40 towards Fawad, I think.
For me as well, I think Fawad Alam is our best player of spin, and first innings it was glaringly obvious that we were, not just like good players spin, he also is that anchor batsman that we need in our middle order, especially because if we're going with how our tail bats, it's not as reliable. Shout out Naseem Shah, though, very great first innings जो किया है, that's brilliant, but उसके अलावा generally speaking our tail is not very reliable in terms of like पूरी innings निकालने वाली type चीज. तो फवाद आलम and उस तरह की आपको चाहिए कोई middle order में, तो like said Agha Salman ki bhi, I understand what was the thinking behind that selection, but I don't think Agha Salman is playing next match. But then uska ye matlab nahi hai ki uska career khatam ho gaya. They're just, you need someone who plays spin well, so play him instead. Ye baat hai, it's not that he's not, because he's like Mustafeez said, he's good with the bat, he's good with the ball, and then he's like a good fielder as well. जो उसका catch था slip पे was really good as well. So that also टेस्ट में तो बहुत काउंट होती है फील्डिंग भी. सो या, बट आई डू थिंक फवाद आलम खेलेगा. आई डू थिंक while Shaheen, I think Shaheen is fine, because I think I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but before we went for the barish wala break or tea, he was padded up. So if he was padded up for batting, I think he's fine. So they are gonna probably play him. I think they might sit out Naseem Hassan in place of Numan, and that will answer your spin wala question as well, that even though फिर वही बात है कि नवाज, but I don't think हमारे पास वही पुरानी बात आ जाती है, we don't have option in spin, हमारे पास है ही अब ये. So I think that will be likely the only playing 11 changes that we see.
Actually, considering the fact that Sri Lankans are mostly right-handed, except for like Karunaratre and Tequila. अगर कोई और हो तो I'm sorry. It won't be a headache if we have more left-handed off spinners. I mean, left-handed off spinners are lethal against right-handed batters, and that's like a positive thing. Okay, apart from this, the Babar batting कर रहा था in the first innings. First of all, I'm sorry for doubting you, King Babar. I was blinded by what Twitter said. I was blinded by my own judgment. So I'm sorry, King. I shall never ever doubt you unless you're playing for Karachi Kings. So resuming the conversation, when Babar was batting, everyone was like, he's the number one T20 player. He needs to slog now, go hard, play a couple of overs, get as many runs as you can, get out on the boundary. But suddenly you realize that the partnership has now crossed 50 runs and Babar is close to a century, while Naseem Shah has finally gotten off the mark with a boundary at third man. So what happened? Honestly, like no words. Naseem Shah surviving the wicket as if it was child's play. मतलब ball आती इतने confidence से ऐसे P-cap penny है Donald Bradman वाली. I was like यार या तो ये alternate universe से आ गए हम या ये क्या हो गया है. फिर बाद में उसको bowling भी नहीं मिली थी. So I was dead sure I'm dreaming or like it's an alternative world.
I'd just like to point out at the start when Naseem walked to the crease, I tweeted that there's going to be 100-run stand between Naseem and Babar, and then there's one person on this panel, Mustafeez and Zoha, said that's never happening, and then they had a 70-run partnership. It's fine if I was 30 runs short.
I would like to correct one small thing. They were playing 1 run per over. I didn't say that they won't reach there. I just said they'll take 150 overs to reach there.
But they did not.
Yeah, they played much quicker. I just said that they'll take more time. I mean, there's nothing wrong in taking time in Test cricket, especially when you win with 2 sessions to spare. Okay, that brings me back to another discussion. I was going through some news and like some comments by people. Abdullah Shafique is playing at a strike rate of 30 runs. It's gonna cost Pakistan the match and World Test Championship, blah, blah, blah. So what about those people? I mean, I know baseball and the Stokes era is very much popular these days. What about that traditional cricket where you score 100 runs of 300 balls with 1 6 and like 4 boundaries? You know, what about that? That's still something beautiful. So can you like try explaining the obsession Pakistanis have with strike rates, even if that's not really relevant? Either one of you?
I'll go first because I just have thodi si cheez to say about this, and that is that I find this way of playing way more rewarding than I find baseball, and I don't have like anything against them, but mujhe bas personally I used to say it about like our analysis on English cricket too ke I find watching them play that like when we played that way because mujhe bahut dar laga rehta hai. When we're playing this way, it's very rewarding, and I know कि it's fine, देर लगेगी but हो जाएगा, वो वाला काम मुझे ज़्यादा आसान लगता है. And I think not to like, I don't know why this is taken in a bad way, but हमारा temperament है अगर इस type की game का तो that's fine. Because like today when there were so many Twitter spaces happening, at least every 15 minutes there was one guy coming up and saying कि हाँ ठीक है, we chased it, but हमने इतनी देर लगा के क्यों chase किया, हमारा strike rate 3 से कम क्यों था, and बेस्टो तो नहीं ऐसे खेलता है. And I'm like, let it be, it's fine अगर बेस्टो ऐसे नहीं खेलता, हम ऐसे खेलते हैं, we're getting the job done, it's fine.
बेस्टो का पाकिस्तान की ओडीआई टीम में होता ना आजकल, ओडीआई टीम में तो उसको भी बाहर निकाला होता. Now Mustafeez, you can continue with your point.
There's absolutely no way that England capably test team, even with Brendan McCallum, is going to play at 4 and over in Sri Lankan pitches against Sri Lankan spinners. मुमकिन ही नहीं है. ठीक है. मैं like people, let's say Faiz तुमने बात की ना about Babar's acceleration. I was absolutely personally I feel like around after getting to his 100, yeah, us point pe, he could have us point pe, at that point he could have gone for a few better attacking shots, in the sense that if you're scoring 6 runs in 5 overs, that's also the same as scoring it's better to maybe get 10 runs in 2 overs and get out, matlab वो sense में. But I ऐसा नहीं था कि Babar wasn't going for it, he was trying to play his shots, right? Lekin honestly, two things: the pitch wasn't giving them any option to go for it, number one. Number two, uh, they were bowling well. Jasuria and Mendes were bowling really well, or the pitch wasn't giving that much room, or Babar tried, उसने कुछ attempts की थी, it did not work out, and then he thought, I'll just wait for a bad ball. ठीक है, और एक आध बैट बॉल पे 6 मारा भी था. आज भी तुम दोनों ने देखा होगा, when we had around 19 to go with 4 wickets to go or 20 to go, Abdullah Shafique tried to go for a big shot. And that's the first time I saw him going for a big shot. And tactically, that makes sense, right? If you get it, if you get a 4 or a 6,
Bro, तुमने उसके छक्के नहीं देखे आगे निकल कर?
Exactly. If you go for a 4 or a 6 in that situation, if you get it, then the pressure is off. ठीक है, makes sense. लेकिन as he was well set, कोई नया player नहीं आ रहा, he was very well set. He's going for it, ball in the air, सादा सा catch drop, अगर वो catch हो जाता मेरी जान निकल जानी थी. 20 runs to go, 3 wickets, no way we are going through. ठीक है, तो बात ये है कि it was very clear कि the pitch wasn't giving them any option of going at anything faster than they were going in if they wanted to win the game. और आके जो रूट अभी मतलब इंग्लैंड में उन पिचेस में he can play at 80 because he thought he could play at 80 and he did an incredible job. लेकिन यहाँ पे आके जो रूट would have scored us, if he would have scored a century, it would have been at a strike rate of 40. मैं लिखवा सकता हूँ, ठीक है. तो again baseball, जैसा कि मकैलम ने कहा था, it's not baseball कोई चीज नहीं है, it's just playing the best with the best mindset of whatever you're comfortable with. Bairstow is comfortable with that cricket and he's going to play that cricket, ठीक है. और I feel like Pakistan is doing that. They're playing, everyone is playing the cricket that they're comfortable with. Rizwan tried to score faster because he thought he was comfortable at that and the team required it. Do it. If you feel like the team requires it and you can do it, perfectly fine. Lekin again, strike rate wali behas, if someone, I'm all in for people scoring at a strike rate of 70-80 if that suits them, but it should not be a requirement कि भाई करना ही करना है. सही है, that's it.
Interesting that he mentioned कि 20 runs हो और 3 विकेटें रह गई हों तो Mustafeez would not be so comfortable, considering that Lahore Qalandars का captain Shaheen Shafii literally scored 24 in the last over for a super over. I mean, that's hugely disrespectful to our talented Shaheen and Naseem, who could have easily played 500 balls as well. वो तो बाबर आउट हो गए तो बेचारे को वापस जाना पड़ा, वरना वो तो प्रॉपर मूड में था 500 बॉलें खेलने का. Yasir Shah, who scored the recent century, even Kohli could not score a century इतनी जल्दी जितनी उसने की हुई. I mean, people come on YouTube and think they're cricket analysts and keep on disrespecting our talented players. Oh my God. So, with that being said, I am super grateful that Pakistan won today. और आपस की बात अगर मैं कैच हो जाता ना तो मुझे भी बड़ा डर लगता, क्योंकि इतनी बॉल स्पिन हो रही थी एक दिन वक्त में. सो घबराने की जरूरत थी, स्पेशली जब नवाज विनिंग शॉट भी मारने लगा था तो he almost missed it and it just missed the stumps as well. तो घबराने की तो बात थी, लेकिन खैर पाकिस्तान keeps on proving everyone wrong. I feel like पाकिस्तान का वो सिस्टम है कि if you give them an easy target and they'll be like, nah, it's बच्चों वाली बात है, we'll make it tough and like not chase it. But when you give them like world records or like mountains to climb, they're like, okay, that is something we can try. It's worth doing it. So that is something that they actually look forward to doing. तो ये भी सीन है पाकिस्तान का. लेकिन honestly, super proud of the way our men played today, and special shout out to the women as well who won against Ireland last night. My brother's also there, and I was saying, please go and watch that match. And he's like, "Itne paise nahi hai, special visa bhi lagwana hoga." But if I were in his place, I would have gone. At least I'm Ireland ke khilaf to jeetne, even if Australia looks too daunting, to be honest. So with that being said, it's time to wrap up this episode. I hope you all liked it. And inshallah, the next episode would be somewhere around second test or after it. So stay tuned and thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz.